All right, ladies and gentlemen, lesson 31, which is on using rates, ratios, and proportions. All right, so let's look at A, which is the better box, or better buy, 8 boxes for $4.96, or 5 boxes for $3.25. Okay, so we can find out the cost per can by taking the 4.96 and dividing it by 8. And we can take the 3.25 and divide it by 5. And we're going to find out which one we get a better buy. So 4.96 divided by 8, we find that to be 62 or 0.62. And then 3.25 divided by 5, we find that to be 0.65. So which is the better buy? 8 boxes for 4.96. Jamie typed 20 pages of a document in 2 hours. How many pages did she type in 1 minute? Okay, so we see we have hours and we have minutes. So let's convert the 2 hours into minutes by times it by 60. So 120. So she did 20 pages in 120 minutes. So we're going to take 20 and we're going to divide by 120. And that tells us that she did 0.16 repeating pages per minute. Okay. All right. We're going to solve this one. And this one is a proportion, so we're just going to cross multiply. So we get 21 times C and 7 times 3, which gives us 21 also. So divide by 21 on both sides, and C equals 1. All right, we're going to cross multiply here again. We're going to take 5 times 16, and then we're going to take 10 times n plus 2. So when we multiply those, we need to keep in mind that we're going to distribute to both terms. So we get 10n plus 20. 5 times 16 gives us 80. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to minus my 20 on both sides. We get 60 equals 10n. Divide both sides by 10, and n equals 6. All right. The ratio of blue chips to red chips in a bag is 5 to 7. The bag has 60 chips in all. How many blue chips and how many red chips are in the bag? So we're actually going to do 2 things. We're going to look at blue chips and we're going to look at red chips. Okay, so how many blue chips are there in the ratio? It's 5. And how many total chips do we have? Is 60. Okay, and I wrote it like this because we're writing blue over the total. Okay, so we want to know how many blue are in total. In our ratio, there's 5. Out of how many total? Well, we need to add these 2 together and get 12 to find us a total. Okay, so if I cross multiply, 5 times 60, we are going to see that being 300. And if I take 12 times x, we're going to see that to be 12x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 12. So 300 divided by 12, we find out there are 25 blue chips. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with red chips. We're going to put red over the total. Okay, we're going to do it for the ratio first. Now here, the red chips came in second, so that's my 7 out of my total of 12 again. We want to know how many red chips are out of my total 60. So we're going to take 7 times 60, and we end up with 420. We're going to take x times 12, we get 12x. So divide both sides by 12, and we end up with 35. Now the other thing to keep in mind is once we knew our blue chips, we could have just taken 60 and minus that to get our red chips. All right, a map shows the 5.5-inch difference between Orange City and Newton and a 3.75-inch distance from Newton to Westville. The scale on the map is 1 inch to 100 miles, so that means an inch equals 100 miles in real life. What is the actual distance if you drive from Orange City to via Newton to Westville? Okay, Orange City to Newton is 5.5 inches, and then if we go another 3.75, that takes us from Newton to Westville. Okay, so we want to know if we go from Orange City to Westville, how much that is. So we're going to take and we're going to add together my 2 terms. So 5.5 plus 3.75, we end up with 9.25 total inches. Okay, and remember 1 inch equals 100 miles, so we're going to take 9.25 and we're going to times that by 100. So if we multiply those two, that ends up telling us that the distance is 925 miles. All right, our last one here. If Jeff walks 4 miles in 48 minutes, how far can he walk in 72 minutes? So we set up a proportion. He walks 4 miles in 48 minutes. So miles over minutes. Okay, we want to know how many miles is going to walk in 72 minutes. Again, we're just going to cross multiply 4 times 72. We get 288. And we're going to take 48 times x. So we're going to divide by 48 on both sides. 288 divided by 48 gives us a nice 6-mile walk. All right, thanks guys.